I'm Shelly with Align My Practice Consulting, and today we're going to be talking about how to help you and your team use automation to ensure that your incoming leads get converted into new patient consultations in your books.
OrthoMarketing.com, 360-degree digital marketing solutions for your practice.
Well, hello, everybody out there in podcast land. Guess what? I'm Dean Steinman, and we are back with another podcast for you. And I am so happy to have my favorite guest of all time back with me again. Those of you that have watched us and listened to us for a while know this very pretty woman that is an expert in the marketing and in orthodontic dental world, training expert to the stars. And Shelly Botcher, I'm so happy to have you back again. Shelly is the founder of Align My Practice, an incredible consulting training company. And we're here today to talk about different ways that you need to adapt your practice to get more patients coming in the door. Plain and simple. It's a whole new world out there. So, Shelly, my dear, welcome. How are you today?
Thank you, Dean. I'm super great. Thanks so much again for having me. I always love chatting with you.
My pleasure. Ditto. It's the same. You always make me smile, and we're in the smile business, so there's nothing wrong. So you got to love that. So I love, smiling and making people smile, and vice versa. There. So welcome. So we're going to jump right in. So we're going to talk a little bit today about the need of speed to lead. Let's say that really fast. The need, the speed to lead. All right. So what that means is when a lead comes into your office, the first person who has a meaningful communication with the patient has a almost 85% chance of getting them in the door. And then based upon how good your team is at converting them, working with Shelly, we'll hopefully get them in. So, so let's talk a little bit about that. So, your expertise when you sit down with the practice is to help them be better at converting, right? But, getting the patients to show up has been a real different package over the last year and a half or so. I work with 100 practices at OrthoMarketing, and I'd say, 80 some odd percent are down or flat this year, it's because there's a myriad of reasons, because of the economy, because of the election, because of competition, et cetera, et cetera. So, what have you found from that? Because, if you back me up on this or you heard different stat, I'd love to hear it. But practices that you work with, or just through your expertise, how have you found the environment this past year or so for practices?
Whenever I work with my teams, I really try to guide them to not make excuses about the economy and the election, or it's a slow month because the kids are all taking finals or whatever it is. I really try to encourage my treatment coordinators to not let those outside factors deter what their main goal is, which is to create an amazing patient experience when the patients walk through the doors, and really kind of help them hone in on their superstar sales abilities to convert that patient, basically give the patient what they came in for. And Dean, I know that you and I have talked a lot about, this is not a cold call. This patient researched you. They learned all about you. They called you. They scheduled an appointment. Hopefully they showed up. They want to be sold. It's not, it's just give them what they came in for. But as far as that, conversion piece of converting that incoming new patient phone call into a converted scheduled new patient consultation is definitely something that's being missed in our market for sure. There's a huge opportunity for growth there.
It really is. And practices have to adapt. All right. Guys, you have to be able to change. This is not 2022, 2020, 2019, 18. It's 2024, almost 25. And as you know, if you just Google, Invisalign near me, orthodontist near me or your town, you're going to see more names ever showing up. You've got people that were referrers that are now competitors. You've got many direct to consumer programs from some of the big, aligner companies out there that even though you are using their services, they're competing with you. There's so much noise out there, and how do you stand out? So, that's where a company like OrthoMarketing comes in, is to get you found and get your name out there. And B, once they find you, all right, that's where the trouble has been over the last year, is getting people to adapt and to work with that. So, so what we do at OrthoMarketing is we kind of take over the process for a lot of our practices for new business development there. Because once they contact you and they show up and you work with Shelly, hopefully you're going to be able to get them to start. But the hardest part is getting them to actually get the butts in the seats there. And, and I mentioned it before, speed to lead. So the first person who has first practice, a meaningful two-way conversation with a patient has an 85% chance of getting them in. But do you want to be the second or third one that reaches out to them, or the first? And then once they do show up, obviously, as I mentioned, Shelley's expertise will guide you. But getting patients to actually show up, book, has been such a struggle lately. So first of all, how do you help practices? When they do that, as far as what do you suggest they do when somebody goes to somebody's website? If you had a choice for any of your clients, when somebody sees your website, what would you suggest they do? You want somebody to call them? You want them to schedule? Do you want them to fill out a form and have a conversation, or all the above, or chat with them? What would you suggest would be the number one thing or top two things that a practice should do?
Yeah, so I think that everybody has different preferred methods of communication. And when I work with my teams, they may think that text messaging is the easiest way to connect, but not everybody loves text messages. I hate texting. So I think making sure that your website has multiple options of communication for your potential patients is super important. Whether that's you want to do a little message, you want to fill out a form, which turns into an email, or can you push a button and make an immediate phone call to connect with them? So I actually think all of those methods of communication are super important. But I find that what the biggest challenge is with offices, which is how you can help all of these clients, is just making sure that phone call is being answered, making sure that the message is being responded to immediately. I look back, I've got 3 grown kids right now, but when I was a young mom and I was a full-time working mom with 3 young kids, 3 different schools, 3 different carpools, 3 different after-school activities. And the only time that I was able to make appointments for like a dental appointment, an eye appointment, whatever it was either before my hours, after my hours, or on my lunch break. And if those offices didn't answer the phone, I like phone calls, so I would always choose a phone call. They didn't answer the phone, and maybe I was looking for a new provider, I'm going to go the next person on the list, because my time is valuable and I don't have time in an hour. I have time now to make that appointment. So one of the many things that I love about Dean and OrthoMarketing is that they have their Smile Hub program, which does all that legwork for you. They take that over, because your front desk, your scheduling coordinator, they don't have the capacity to answer your phone 24/7. They might work 9 to 5. They're going to take an hour lunch break, which they deserve. And so, but all of those off times, all of those off hours, which I know I'm not a unique, crazy busy mom. I'm sure there's many other moms who are often the decision makers in the family. You need to really adapt to them and cater to them. So I think outsourcing that initial communication to make sure that your conversion of incoming leads to converted new patient consultation should be at least 85%. I like 90%, but it's important to make sure you've got a partner like OrthoMarketing to be able to help you do that.
This podcast is sponsored by OrthoMarketing.com. Hey, you an orthodontist or dentist looking to give your practice the competitive edge it deserves?
Well, look no further than OrthoMarketing. OrthoMarketing is the dentist and orthodontist choice for digital marketing. At OrthoMarketing, we specialize in helping orthodontists and dentists just like you attract more new patients. Our team of experts knows the ins and outs of the dental and orthodontic industry, and we're here to help your practice shine. We're going to supercharge your online presence. We're going to optimize your website. We're going to harness the power of social media to connect you with the patients that you want. Say goodbye to empty chairs and say hello to a thriving practice. Choose OrthoMarketing today and watch your patient list grow. Visit OrthoMarketing.com and learn more and take the first steps towards your practice success. OrthoMarketing. It's not just our name, it's what we do.
Well said. Thank you for that bit of advice. That's so true, guys. You focus on what you do best. Let your phone ring. Let work with a company like us to get you found. Work with somebody like Shelley to teach your staff how to get them to convert when they show up. But between that is a huge, huge gap. And you got really three options now, really. One is keep the old way, all right? And you're going to fail. Unfortunately, you cannot just keep it the old way. You have to adapt. As Shelley said, busy mom is going to potentially fill out a form or call you at 8:30 in the morning, and you might not be open. They're going to do it at lunchtime. You're not going to be open 5, 6 o'clock, 7, 8 at night. You're not open. You lost them. All right. So you have to have a 24/7 world to be in right now. So I said you have three options. One is keep it as is, and hope and pray. Two is have a hybrid. All right. So we have a program, as I mentioned, called Smile Hub, and it's an automation platform. So think about it. If somebody goes to your website and they pick up the phone and they hang up, they're busy and there's a hang up call, they're going to get a text back right away. Thank you for reaching out to Dr. Jones. We're sorry we missed you. Please click here to call us again, or click here to schedule an appointment, and we'll fill out a form. And they can take them right to a landing page to fill out a form, or it can facilitate an inbound call to your office. All right. Now, most practices will, if a call comes in or a form is filled out, they'll reach out to them, leave a message 1 or 2 times, and that's a bad lead. You have to reach out to somebody literally 8 times in 8 days. Automatically, your staff is too busy to do it. So that's where a program and a company like ours steps in. Is we take that out of the equation. When somebody fills out a form on your website, again, we're going to text them and email them right away. And if we don't get in touch with them, next day do it. Next day do it. Next day do it. And then after a week or so, if we don't hear from them, then they go into a follow-up program, and then every month we'll do it. We had a practice we spoke with yesterday, a client of ours. Somebody filled out one of their forms in March. All right, didn't connect, and blah blah blah. We kept texting and emailing. We automated the program. They finally, got through and said, "Wow, but I really am interested. I forgot." Blah blah blah. Showed up, started yesterday without doing a thing. All right, $7,000 start, paid in full. Okay, without doing a thing. All right, because they adapted to technology. So you have to have an automated process in place. Your staff can't manually do this work anymore. They can't. There's just not enough hours in a day, and they're busy. So the first thing to do is to adapt to that, and even better is what we're doing now at OrthoMarketing. We're taking over everything for the practices. We could actually answer your phone for you, and it's not being outsourced to India or Pakistan or something like that. It's based in the States. Trained people that will answer your phone properly, follow up, take it all for you. You don't do a thing. All right. Focus on what you do best. Let the experts answer the phone, from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Plain and simple. Times that is the most busiest times of the day. You don't do a thing, and let us follow up with them. Let us book with them. Let us do it all. You just do what you do best. And that's very, very important. But the biggest part now is getting your staff to buy in. So Shelley, how do you get a practice to adapt to something new? Because the staff is going to be like, "Oh, I'm so busy. We can't do this. We can't do this." So how do you actually, help them understand that you have to change?
Yeah. I think implementing any sort of system can be challenging or, frustrating for teams, especially if it's a seasoned team and they've been there for a long time and it's hard to adapt. So what I really try to work with, either if I'm working with the practice manager or the practice owner doctor, is you need to express to your team that this is going to help them. This is going to reduce stress in their day-to-day operations and allow them to focus on, gosh, if you know that someone else is going to be who's an expert to answer your phone to take care of those leads so that you can focus on the patients that are in front of you, creating those amazing patient experiences, the red carpet service, all of that is just so, so important. So I think the best way to get your team to buy in is let them know that it's almost like a gift or a service from the doctor to the team. I want to reduce your stress. I want to allow us to be successful. I know you have a lot on your plate. This is just an extension of the team. Some kind of fun facts, and this isn't even like industry just for dental ortho, but in the big, scheme of, sales in general, that only 10% of salespeople follow up with their potential lead more than 3 times. And yet 80% of those sales are achieved between the 5th and the 12th point of contact. Most TCs, most scheduling coordinators, well, I will even say as far as like the people that answer the phone, the scheduling coordinators, if they aren't successful with taking this phone call and converting it into a scheduled appointment, 99.9% of those scheduling coordinators are not going to make note of that number and go, I'm going to follow up with that person again. If they ask, oh, are you in network with my insurance company? Oh, no, I'm sorry, I'm not. Okay, well, have a good day. And they'll hang up with them. 99.9% of those team members are not following up with that lead. And that's something that you do. And I think practices are so focused on the conversion of treatment coordinators, they're not focused on converting those leads. So you have to follow up. So I know, like I always say, you have to follow up for at least 9 months, which is like the example that you just shared with your client yesterday. Is we're kind of right about that same time. I was like, the fortune is in the follow up, and if you're not following up, you're missing out on such a huge chunk of revenue for your practice.
So let me ask you another question. So, when it comes to following up and being active on something new, as you said, they have to adapt, and somebody's been there for a while to do so. And, unfortunately, some of the practices we work with, the staff is, on the senior side, and they've been there for 20, 30, 40 years, and they're just afraid of change, afraid of technology, but they have no choice. They have to adapt there. And, and so, when it comes to getting your team to do so, what's maybe one bit of advice you could just tell them, besides saying this is something you have to do, which they do, but still they won't buy in? How do we get them to learn, teach an old dog new tricks per se, but we have no choice. We can help. You have to help us help you.
Yeah.
When we're automating our messages, you have to let us know if they booked or not. Otherwise, we're going to keep messaging them, and you're going to look kind of foolish if we text or email somebody or call them and say still looking for an appointment. We're like, well, I came in yesterday, So you have to help us help you a bit. So you can't be afraid of technology and trying something new, but how do they get over that hurdle? How does this doctor, get his staff to do so without being, too aggressive? They have no choice,
So that's what I was going to say is who's in charge of the practice. So it really needs to be I teach a great course called Lead, Align, and Thrive, because I think a lot of doctors, practice owners, practice managers really struggle with that piece of team accountability. And you said it, you just have to do it. This is where the practice is moving forward. We are doing this in the best interest of the team, the practice, and the patient, period. And you need to give them the tools to be successful. So yes, if they are a, seniored team member who's been in the practice for a long time, and it might take them a while to catch on to new technology. So give them the tools to be successful. Don't just throw it at them. You really need to have a proper roll out proper onboarding of whether it's Smile Hub or whether it's some technology in the lab or whatever it is. In order to get the team on board, you have to give them the tools. You have to give them the expectation. We're doing this. We're going to start rolling it out now. We're going to be ready to go in a month and a half. This is what it looks like. Give them the tools to be successful, and just guide them, whether it's like stages of implementation. But it's not their practice, it's your practice. And so as an owner, you need to look at the long-term sustainability of your practice, and you need to know where you're going. Like, it's your legacy that you're building, and you need to make sure that you've got a team that is there to jump on the train with you. And I think typically when I work with my doctors, the doctors are afraid of maybe losing that team member more so than the team member adapting to whatever the new system or technology is. But I always try to just remind my practice owners, like, this is your livelihood. This is your baby. This is your family. This is your legacy. And you need to make sure that you're hiring the right people, and then just give them the tools to be successful, and let them know this is where the practice is going, and put the ball in their court. They either need to be on board with this, or they're going to choose not to be on board. And the doctor needs to feel comfortable with maybe freeing up that employee's future, I like to say, if maybe their future is not with you and your vision for your practice. I know it's tough, but it's necessary.
It really is. They have to adapt. And I've mentioned this many, many times in my podcast. If you ever watch the movie Moneyball, adapt or die. And you have to adapt, or you're done. And that's why, companies like mine exist, and technologies like Smile Hub exist in order to adapt. Whoever heard of AI or automation, 2 years ago? But it's the world we're in now. And, work smart. The practices that market smarter, not harder, are the ones that are successful. All right. So, and I guarantee you, Doc, your competitors are marketing and working smarter. All right. You might be working harder, but they're working smarter, and they're adapting. So just take a step back, breathe, and let's work smarter together. So, Shelley, thank you so much again for joining. This was great. And now it's time for a little shameless plug. So if somebody wants to learn more about you, set up a time to talk, learn about what you could do, what do they do?
Thank you, Dean. Well, yes, I'm Shelley, founder of Align My Practice Consulting. I work mostly with ortho practices, but I also work with some GP and pediatric offices as well. If they're either looking to implement like phase 1 ortho, clear aligners, or airway focused treatment, I offer coaching and training programs literally for every single role within the practice. And I do those either on site or from the convenience of your office via Zoom. And I love working with Dean because he does such a great job of filling my clients, like getting their phones ringing, getting the butts in the seats. And then we're just such a great team, because then we can keep the butts in the seats with Align My Practice.
Great. Thank you, guys. If you are struggling, if you're not getting your conversions, if your staff is just not able to get the starts, and you see people booking and not showing up, or just not starting, give her a call. So thank you so much, Shelley. Once again, give her a call, guys. This is, she's incredible. Everybody out there, thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks so much for all of your feedback. We always love to hear any different topics, or anybody that is looking to potentially be a guest or know somebody, reach out to us. We always love to interview and get to know you out there. So follow us on all your social media programs, and just keep on smiling. Shelley, thank you so much. Everybody in podcast land, be happy, be safe. Bye-bye.
OrthoMarketing.com. 360-degree digital marketing solutions for your practice.